What's up, everybody? How you doing? Well, it's Carpo again. I'm sitting out front, another beautiful sunny day. Decided to step outside and smoke a joint. Go figure, huh? So, the reason why I wanted to make this video was because, I've been thinking a lot lately about how we associate with each other and how we associate with substances and plants. I guess the ups and downs of being a human, I guess, is where I should just really stick to the point. I tend to make videos when I'm happy, or I should say maybe inspired. It's like I've got a thought and I'm like, oh, I want to share it, If I'm in a shitty mood, I generally won't take the time to sit down and make a video unless I'm actually angry about something, some particular problem. I see something on the news that's like, hey, that pisses me off, or whatever. I've never understood car stereos on motorcycles. That's weird. Anyway, so I had one of those shitty days today, and so I thought I'd make a video, because I don't complain about shit in my personal life. I mean, I don't know, maybe I do and I just don't notice it. My subs might notice that, I might complain about certain things in society, or I may have, maybe an inspirational message to try to get people to open their hearts or whatever it might be. Or it might be something that I just find just appalling, or something that irritates me. But I generally don't sit here and, make videos talking about my personal life. I've had a lot of people ask me about my personal life, and I'm like, well, it's just not really that important to the discussions that I have. But I guess when you get to know people, you learn more about them through either, well, in my case, it would be watching my videos. And so a lot of my subs who have been around for a while probably know me pretty well. Probably maybe better than some of my friends, my deeper thoughts. But having a shitty day, just, you set yourself up for it by saying I'm having a shitty day, which is why I didn't really want to say that. My day is whatever I make it, so right now I can change that reality and make it a phenomenal rest of my day. It was just one of those days where my mood was not up to par, up to where I wanted it to be. And I was having trouble figuring out what it was. What's out of place lately? What's eating you, Carpo? What is it? And I started thinking it was money, because I'm broke, generally. And I'm trying to figure out a way to make like a business plan or business model that's based on something that's, one of my many hobbies or, interests, but it has to be something that's fair. I'm not out to make money, because money is not a concern of mine. However, having enough to live is, key. I heard someone say earlier that the 3 keys to happiness are health, wealth, and love. And I totally agreed right away, and I understood, because then they had to explain the wealth part. A lot of people would say money doesn't buy happiness. No, it doesn't, but it sure as hell helps when you need to eat. So it's not about wealth as in riches, it's about having enough. And we have enough. My family has enough. My wife makes good money, and I make money on my side jobs, things like that, things that I do, but not, I guess I always feel like I could fulfill more. And I feel like maybe that's what eats me up sometimes, and it makes me a little drained, maybe a little short with myself, short with my kids, if they're like, but I am a pretty patient person, I'm not an angry person. But I have my moments where things just really get to me. Lately, I've noticed that it's been that way. I guess, it could be partially due to the fact that Oh, there's one of my screaming kids right now. It could be due to the fact that, my mom's been staying with me for a couple of weeks. She needed a place to stay between her places, and it's been fine, but it's a change of pace. And a change of pace can be stressful. And it's funny because I even good change of pace is like, say you go on vacation, it's like a change of scenery, something exciting, but there's a lot of stresses that go along with it, unforeseen consequences, things like that. But we welcome that as part of the day, as part of the experience. Like, we know that we're going to have those moments. So whenever I have a day like today, I just remember that I can turn it around, and in contrast, tomorrow will be better. It's just like when I'm down to my last $20. I'll tell you, there have been times, I think the most money I ever had was like $10,000 in cash. I remember withdrawing it from the bank because I was going to close my account. I took out like, $9,900 or something. And they're like, "What are you going to do with this money?" And I'm like, "I'm going to stash it at home because I don't trust you guys." I was merely using the account for my business, because I had to. But back then, $20 to me, I'd go out and I'd buy whatever I had. Of course, the money ended up going to bills and whatnot. It's not like I had a whole bunch of cash. It's just like I'd been saving up. And in comparison, spending $50 on a new tool or even a few $100 on something new wasn't a big deal. And that's when I bought my van and stuff. But today, having $100 is like, $100. And I go back and forth between those contrasts of money. And I use that as kind of a gauge to realize that contrast goes for everything. When there's plenty, we take it for granted. And when there's not enough, we are grateful for what we have. Hopefully. So days like today, things get a little too much. You just take a couple Valium, sit outside, smoke a joint, make a video, change the perception, and go back inside. I guess on the note, I should cover that while I'm saying smoke a joint. A lot of people would say using plants, substances, drugs to cover up your emotions or to make yourself feel better is, somehow immoral or, something we shouldn't do. And that's preposterous to me. Everything that we consume affects our emotion and our mood. And our current, you might call conscious, sober state of being is just one of many of our personalities and levels of understanding. We can take ourselves to many limits, and I'm not just talking about with drugs, or, although drugs are a very useful tool for many people. And I'm talking about everything from morphine to LSD, totally different compounds. Some people need each to help them balance out. I guess maybe psilocybin would be a better example than LSD, but the psilocybin contains the whole of the knowledge that has been contained within the plant through the experiences it has had. My belief is that every person who's consumed psilocybin has transmitted and received signals and put into the ether or the collective consciousness, that collective knowledge can be what people call the Akashic records, if you will, or similar to that. The Akashic records, people believe, are the records of the whole universe. I'm talking about more of a record of just humanity in general. And that may very well be something that's contained within the mushroom. So anyway, I'm getting into plants now, but I wanted to cover the idea that using drugs to change your state of mind is not something that should be frowned upon, so long as the person is responsible. Now, it's obvious that if I was sitting here, drinking a fifth of Jack Daniels and slurring and acting like a complete fool, then, I don't really see much benefit from that, although that is definitely masking reality. It's funny because smoking pot as a plant, in its raw form, it's an amazing plant. And it allows me, at least, to be more insightful and depth and think about things and concentrate harder. While a lot of people believe that cannabis will make it hard to focus, and for some it does, depending on the body chemistry of the person. It can be very useful, just like all substances. And while I'm on that, talking about body chemistry, there seems to be this, a way, an air about people that, let's take fad dieting, for example. 1 week it's eat all fats, the next week it's don't eat any. Kids running outside causing trouble. Anyway, I guess I'll finish this one up before I get into this and it turns into a 20-minute video about nonsense. Probably already has. So what we've got is, I guess in a nutshell, at least what I'm trying to convey, is that it's all about that Buddhism always comes to mind, that balance of just taking it for what it is. Quit your bitching, I guess would be a good slogan. Way too many complaints about how things should be or what things could be or how a person should act or not act. What's good for one person and another. The fad dieting thing reminds me that it doesn't work for all people. No diet works for all people, nor does any experience or substance. And for someone to tell you what works for you, you just can't learn that until you experience it yourself. You can't ask someone, hey, is this right for me? And I'll tell you, a good example of how that works against us is in psychiatry. Psychiatrist wants to prescribe a person an antidepressant, it doesn't seem to work, so let's prescribe them 5 more at the same fucking time, right? It's ludicrous. And meanwhile, the person finds in the end that they were cured by merely using a natural plant or substance or meditation, some sort of a particular practice that helped them to overcome their problems, but they found it within. And let me tell you that taking psychedelics helps you to find that within, rather than trying to read about what's going to help you as an individual. Your body knows what it's needed. It knows what it needs. I'll tell you, the double helix DNA was discovered under the influence of psychedelics. I believe psilocybin. Steve Jobs did LSD. Many of great inventions were made under the influence of psychedelics, and probably many more but were never admitted for the fear of ridicule among the scientific community. It's because once you've tried these things, these plants, these entheogens, they give you an understanding of yourself. And since I started out this video talking about, my bad day and start talking about psychedelics, I wanted to tie that in because psychedelics are what has allowed me to see myself from the outside and to understand that the moments when I'm having a bad day, I can step back from myself and actually look at myself from the outside. And I don't know if you know what I mean, because I've mentioned that to people as if they just would know what I'm talking about. People have said, I don't know I don't understand what you're saying. I'm saying, don't look at yourself, step outside yourself. Physically, mentally picture yourself as you're going about your day, and be consciously aware of what you do and how it's affecting people, how it affects you, how other people's comments affect you, as well as your comments affect others, or how much love you need or don't need, or affection, or how you feel about people. Just be aware of yourself and get to know yourself. Because once you've done that, and to an extent, I'm still getting to know myself. I'm working on it. I know my faults, but I find new ones every day. But I don't focus on the faults. I just focus on where I want to be, and the faults cure themselves. And that's really where I'm getting at. Just intend to see yourself where you want to be. So if you're having a shitty day, a shitty week, or a shitty year, get over it, move forward. And I know that's easier said than done, but man, I have some shitty days too. Really shitty days. So I've just learned to deal with them better. And so from here on out, the day's going to be awesome. Rad. It's going to be radical. It's going to be super radical. It's going to be far out, right on, awesome. It's going to be dope.